look at the power of a song called a national anthem. The way people get emotional, and all sorts of things like songs have changed political situations. Like there's another example, that'd be that song, that great song, "We Shall Overcome." When that came out, it just spread around the English speaking world like wildfire, and it stood for lots of meanings. People holding demonstrations completely different from each other. You can't overestimate the power of a song, can you?
No.
I mean, the human being is musically inclined even in the womb, because the first thing they're listening to in the womb is the heartbeat of their mother. So they have a beat. You have a beat, your own heartbeat, and music is an extension of the heartbeat.
When did you really take the singing seriously, or when did you start collecting songs?
I'll tell you this, Donal. I don't take singing seriously anytime. But what I do take seriously is listening. I don't take myself seriously. I know it's a serious business, singing's a serious business, but I don't take the whole thing seriously. But I take listening to someone seriously, and the songs I take seriously.
Me too.
I wouldn't be precious about it.
Yeah.
I'd never be precious about it.
Hi Ian.
How is it?
Good to see you.
Yeah, well guys, you keeping well?
Good.
How are you, Luke?
You know, was it all downhill? Well, it is from
mostly,
Fisborough,
yeah.
isn't it?
Well, I'm coming from Communal. I was down, I had to drop a letter off, yeah. So I used to live up the road in Grange Corman. I was dropping off a letter to me. I had an elderly neighbour there, but his brother died last year, so yeah, it's there on his own.
Have I met this Donal chap before, do you think?
I'm not sure now. I don't know. Like I was saying the other day, he used to have a television show, didn't he? No, Disco. He had a radio show for a while as well. He's around a good while now.
There's a younger generation going around today. They want the real thing, you know. They've come to realise that a lot of the stuff that's been presented with on television, with this X Factor and all that, they're like clones out of some sort of a, singing factory.
I know.
You know, and I'm not condemning the young boys and girls that are on it. They're doing their best, but it's the type and all that sort of thing, type of singing, and there's no real substance in the songs, you know. And there is a reawakening that young people want, and they want to hear ordinary people singing, and they're beginning to realise that they can sing themselves.
Yeah.
You know, I'm constantly amazed at the talent of ordinary people. You know, to hear people.
Yeah.
And it's very, very encouraging, I have to say. I was never more encouraged in the last 10 years than I am now.
Brilliant.
Yeah, honest to God, yeah.
I've been told to be a seer, one must be ruthless. So I've eaten the yellow text of Paul and Brutus. The soothsayers came and went, I believe. To be reborn, we first must cultivate a seed. And spit it out, release that precious piece of pebble ash from your mouth. That's a working class jewel spinning round your hopeless head. It ain't for chewing on, it's for looking through instead. And you prefer the common stone to the pearls under the plexiglass with the factory girl who told her sister all about you, hanging bed sheets on a clothesline in the sun. She keep you warm, she keep you fed. They have gone and lost your bed on the doorstep of the sick and indigent society. And as Christmas comes, send word to all the ones who watch night the song day. 35 days after defection now, I am sat in the cheapest of rooms. There's an oil lamp defiantly snapping at the shadows. I've had notions to start playing chess, but the mice, they have stolen the pieces. I have told them to start paying rent or they must leave. I am anchored in an armchair. I am writing my letters. I intend on shooting the postman when he passes at dawn. I haven't eaten for 13 days. I've taken the form of a Bosnian beggar. And the reason the preachers are screaming and shouting, tell them mother I'm home, tell them mother I'm home. And as Christmas comes, send word to all the ones who would love to be remembered by the ghost of November on St. Stephen's Day. In some minuscule way. Across the city, they're sending postcards to Catalonia. Across that city, they're sending postcards to Catalonia. I won't get out now, so here's a postcard from Catalonia. those at home, sending my love from Culminating.
Was it your mom or your dad or either of your grandparents? Did they sing, or where did you hear it?
Well, I never heard my grandparents singing, but my mum and dad did. You see, as I was saying, he had a large family, and they'd come down maybe twice a month. One of the brothers or two of the brothers would come down, and when the others heard it, they'd be down too. Sometimes a hoolie would just start, they'd go over and get the stout, whatever, a dozen of stout and that, and there'd be a sing-song. And then there were the annual hoolies, you know.
Yeah.
Celebrating. They come down for the Christmas, or they be down at Easter time and all that. Pubs in Ringsend, as it was around in the city, there were sing-songs. Once Friday night came, you know, working men had the weekend off, there'd be sing-songs in the pubs on Friday night, Saturday night and Sunday night. In McDermott's, sometimes there was 3 sing-songs going at the one time. But there was a lot of fierce drinking went on. There really unbelievable drinking went on in the working classes at that time, you know. But when I was growing up now, I was born in 1940. When I was growing up in Ringsend, and this would be any parish in Dublin's inner city, and it's probably the same down the country, you know. At the weekend, that you'd see men rolling home from the pub drunk. My dad, as a result of that now, my dad drank very, very little. I saw him in my lifetime only twice in a pub.
Really, yeah.
And once was to get me out of it.
Something doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right. Something
castle he came in, all inquiring for his lady. Oh, she is gone, said the young serving boy. She's away with the dark-eyed gypsy. Oh, come saddle to me the milk-white steed. The bay is ne'er so speedy. Oh, I will ride all the day and the whole long night, till I find my own wedded lady. Oh, and at certain times of the year, Christmas or gatherings for christenings or funerals, things like that, that was the main way that people had of getting on and passing time, was singing, and just singing to get along with each other. It was a real communal kind of singing, you know. Any time any members of my family get together, that's what they're just singing for the enjoyment of it, you know, for the crack, and just going around, just everyone having a turn at doing something, you know. For certain families, I think, and certain groups of people, it's the done thing, and there's nothing special about it, you know. They wouldn't sit around thinking about it even or trying to analyse it. It's just the done thing. It's the way they get along together. I think it's great that people still have that, you know, like you were talking about the kind of changes that have come around in society. And singing, I think in particular, has become a much more specialised kind of thing, where almost you have to be a professional to even consider doing it, you know, which is the opposite of what it should be.
Good singing, if the person can get the story over, you know, and grab your attention. It doesn't matter to me if they're not a great singer, but if they're able to getting their story across, you know, and whatever way they chew in their own manner, like, you know, and they do that. To me, that's a good singer. Whether they're
the communication is
communication.
It's an important part of the delivery.
Because at the end of the day, sure, what's a song? Only a storyteller.
Right.
You know, it's a little short story.
The dark-eyed gypsy. Oh.
But basically keeping people in the homes that they have is so critical, because if we stop people becoming homeless, that can be so important in terms of the cost of the exchequer and the stress and strain on people, remembering that this is people's lives. This is, they're living day to day under this huge stress and pressure.
And how might you do that? Would that be dealing with landlords for people or tenants? Would it be dealing...
We marmalise the culprit when he's found. The second teddy boy had murder in his eye. I intend to see the bastard pays the price. Our 3 points is missing since we was out in the toilet. So what happens to our victim won't be nice. The third was having same as he touched his cycle chain. The guilty one had better own up, or we'll tear the hero apart from his gizzard to his heart. The dirty, ungrateful mannered pup. You might think you're smoking. We've one of the largest bodies of folklore. We have the largest body of folklore, I think, in Europe, and one of the largest in the world. Despite the fact that the famine halved the population of the country, can you imagine what was lost? Those that died, and still, despite the famine, we have the largest body of folklore. There's a very, very rich literary tradition in this country, and poetic tradition.
Do you find that, Ian, with I suppose, we're talking pride here in our country and in our people, but there is something there that I suppose maybe it's to do with being an island or whatever, but we have a strong tradition of kind of entertaining ourselves.
Yeah, well, I think because we never really had a richness in in material culture. If you look at our buildings, or even fashion-wise, fashion in our, it's just what people were doing in other places 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah. But where we do make up for it is in the ability to kind of, if we're surrounded by kind of drab surroundings, to kind of make up for that by the stories that we tell each other, and by songs and poetry, like that side of things.
It's also the aspects of it. You have, it's like your hand, you have the singing tradition, you have the poetic tradition, you have the music tradition, you have the dancing, and you have the folklore. And in this country, anyway, I don't know about anywhere else, but they're always closely connected, and you come across them in the one place. You could be in this where we're sitting now on Sunday night or Saturday night, you'll see some people getting up and doing a bit of dancing, or someone will get up and do a recitation. There's music, and it's still very much, they're like the hand, the fingers are part of the one thing in Ireland. They're not separate things. Well, as sure as Mick McDermott is my name. Then he grabbed himself a bench and says he, unhand that wench, or as true as God I'll give you all a whack. Well, it was over in a minute. There was really nothing in it. He flattened their 3 boils with one swing. And in the midst of consternation, he said, "No to ring the station. 'Tis me duty to report this sort of thing." Well, that's about a lot. Except, of course, the Mott. Sure, we never see her now around the flats, because she married Gord McDermott, and they've a house in Ballyford, and they're raising up a bunch of culture brats. And for the wicked life of the crime, the Teds are doing time. They're breaking stones and they're cleaning prison delf. And he never did find out who drank their pints of stout. Sure, the guilty one was none other than myself. I didn't think I'd get through it.
Walking on Pilbeg Street, an hour before midnight, I notice a girl huddled in a tattered blue sleeping bag, hunched against the October cold, the wind biting at her bones, with a face much like my own. We are mirrored in age, though recently her circumstances have changed. Chance is a game we play. Did her last roll of the dice leave her fearing things she never thought of twice? Is she afraid she will die tonight, on these cracked cobblestone streets through which someone can slip so easily, with the howl of a banshee in her ears calling slowly for her breath to be stolen with the cold, before the sun can rise to give heat to her bones? Is it true that she hasn't known warmth in weeks? Is it all she can hope for in this faded out sepia-toned dream? Does she ache for it? As she attempts to lie down and sleep, to dream of the mundane brilliance she knew of fresh sheets in her own bed, lying in on a Sunday till whenever she pleased, not to be woken up to be told she better find another place to be, by another guard who doesn't know what best to do with the displaced people, the half-forgotten of our society. Does she find solace in all that she can? A stolen glance from a passing stranger, that person who showed her some kind behaviour? I wish I could walk by her at a different time and know her circumstances mirror my own, wonder of the story that is her life, of what gives her that bright smile. As we do ponder another passers-by place in this world, wonder where she is off to tonight. What is it that gives her love in her life? But homelessness is the story of our times. All these questions are written between the lines etched into her face, but there is hope within her eyes. As they meet mine, I see there is a fire inside, hoping that she will soon see better times. I think of what I can do for her tonight. As I walk by, I acknowledge her presence in the streetlight's illumination. I give her what I can and let her know that I see her. For a moment, there is connection here. We are connected in the hope that change is near.
So we're the homeless, give me 2 seconds. Homeless mobile room. So we're out Wednesday night, Friday night and Sunday night. So Wednesday and Sunday we do food from 8 to 11. So hot food, cold food, sandwiches, toiletries, clothes.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesday night it's clothes only.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
My body's in a bad way.
we've been talking about how, you know, within the country we definitely feel like there's been a reawakening, but do you find that has extended, you know, to other places? Is there that reception for that, you know, what you're doing, or do you find that there's a new generation that are open to that, or have a feeling for it, you know, in the UK and Scotland or in
It depends
England?
on the place, to be honest. Like in some areas that we play in, definitely in Scotland. So we've been to Glasgow and Edinburgh quite a lot in the last while, and that's very much, I'd say it's a similar kind of scenario there. There's a lot of young people playing the music, lots of young groups, people playing Scottish traditional music, and they're into the songs as well. Obviously the very big singing tradition in Scotland. So up there for certain. In some parts of the UK, say Manchester, Leeds, different parts of Yorkshire, down in Bristol and some places, there's really kind of, you know, a lot of young people into it, and there's a kind of sense that it's a kind of a cool thing somehow. Or
the likes of Tom Munnelly would say, like, the tradition never died in Ireland. You had to go looking for it though.
Yeah.
You know, it was swamped by, you know, popular music, you know, and there were so many new diversions came into people's lives. But behind it all and at the back of it all, there was a hard core of it still existed. You know, it was all, you know, bald spots and wrinkles and beards, you know, and all of a sudden, to me it was all of a sudden. It obviously wasn't happening suddenly, but there was a flowering of interest among people of Ian's age group and younger, you know, and it just seemed to come out of nowhere. But obviously it didn't. It was they were taking an interest. You know?
Because there's something, you know, we talk about the pure drop, and Luke, you were talking about that kind of, that people want the real thing, you know, that they know what's real, and they can kind of discern between the fabricated thing, which, you know, there's so much of, and then the real thing. But if you're in the real thing when you're being, I suppose your senses are being formed, you're in a great position there to really know what's what and to kind of discern between.
Well, it's just, it only started out when the recession kind of kicked in, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I remember going to sessions around 2008, 2009, and it was just like, I mean, nobody had any jobs. There was no work going around. Everyone was on a session every night. Everyone's playing loads of music, and they're all out singing the whole, you know.
Yeah.
It was kind of, I mean, during the years when the Celtic Tiger kicked in, there was so much of ourselves that we gave away and we kind of discarded, and it was like, well, you know, all of a sudden, all these kind of like old buildings around town, from that kind of thing all the way down to our own singing and different aspects of our own culture, became almost like an embarrassment, you know what I mean? It's something to be hidden away.
I stand naked, low like wading deep to clothe my skin in a borrowed box of clothes to cover my bones. Time can keep me in one place. I slip straight through its grip, breaking through straight curfew too soon. Night
if we had probably a sufficient audio and a highly visual kind of audio experience there with the two faces that we were looking at. So no visuals today, no contrived stuff. Pure drop.
An old bachelor farmer with a field for a bride, reneged on the flesh, put pleasure aside, to engage mortal combat on a lonely hillside, with briars and bog cotton for neighbours. Sawn off green wellies, past as normal attire, for formal occasions, or pulling sheep from barbed wire. For sartorial elegance he held no desire, to waste money hard-earned from his labours. On overcoat Sundays he'd ramble alone, on stony wet ground, where he'd winter wheat sown, and his coat like his heart, buttoned close to the bone, while he dreamt on the 15th of August. 'Twas the one day a year he'd go wild if inclined, he'd go on the tear, and he sport with mankind. His mothball tweed suit he would gladly recruit, to dine out with Bacchus and Venus. A Guinness label tax disc on the Cambridge he'd risk, he'd fill up the tank with a red diesel mix, with dreams of black porter and the shopkeeper's daughter, whom would look might consent to his ardour. 'Twas 70 it was average for men, and his hourglass had less than a quarter to spend. The long sleep would come soon, just as sure as the moon hung over that great lump of water. With his hair brilled cream down like a jewel on his crown, he'd a gimp of a man who was out on the town, well steamed with the jar. Sure he needn't go far to find him a lady he fancied. But the lass of his choice, she had a man's voice, and she answered to Paddy, not Nancy or Joyce. So like a dog in trap one, the old farmer was gone, like a ship in full sail, bound for Swansea. So it's back to the silage, the sheep dip the dung, the hungry cold mountain where the thrush never sung. At least on the hill he knew a ewe from a lamb, and he'd cancel the 15th of August. An old bachelor farmer with a field for a bride, reneged on the flesh, put pleasure aside, to engage mortal combat on a lonely hillside, with briars and bog cotton for neighbours. There you are now.
Oh, thanks so much, Luke. It's been
Oh,
such a great
pleasure,
pleasure.
terrible pleasure,
An honour.
terrible
No,
pleasure.
thanks, Ian. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thanks for bringing this man to us. It's
Oh,
been
not at all, not at all.
been
You
amazing.
just throw your hat in the ring, see what happens, give it your best shot.
Cheers, man. It's been such a great honour to meet you.
Thanks very much.